Hey, Jim and Jody. Thank you for having me back. I've completed the research we spoke about to and prepared a comparative market analysis. We refer to it as CMA to help you, basically decide on the right listing price for your property and to get, you know, a good plan of action going. So I thought a good place to start is obviously starting with having a look at what is for sale, what is your current active competition, and the homes people will be comparing to yours over this weekend. So the first one we're going to look at is 22 Spinal Street. It's not very far from here. It's pretty very much newer build. It's got modern finishings, but it is plotted on a very much smaller land. So it's got a 450 square meter block compared to your 650 square meter. This one is listed at the moment for offers over 920,000. Then we want to look at 5 Coperness Place, which is in the same cul-de-sac down at the other end of the road. I would say this is your most direct competition. It's listed between 890 and 930K. Very similar layout, same 4 bedroom plan, 2.5 bathrooms, same surroundings, proximities to, the schools and the shopping centers and everything. This also helps us gauge over current buyers' interest levels in this exact street, which is interesting and great. All right, the other one is 10 Sumners Road. It's currently listed at 865K. This is an original condition home, so it's a great example of the flaw of the market, I would say. It proves that for a move-in ready, beautiful home like yourself, the one that you've got with a pool and a spa and the view, it definitely justifies a premium price over this property. Yeah, so bear that in mind. Uh, then obviously we need to look at the properties that sold recently. This is hard evidence of what people were actually willing to pay and paid within the last 12 months. So this is hardcore facts. The first one we want to look at is at 12 Copmanhurst Place. Same street as yours once again. This property sold in January this year for 935,000. So it's got a slightly more superior setup. I would say more newly built, also renovated beautifully. Um, but yeah, I would say a notch up on yours aesthetically. But the great thing is people are definitely willing to pay into the 900s for this specific cul-de-sac in the street, which is awesome. Your next door neighbor at 15 Copmanhurst Place. This one sold for 895K in December. So this is a very, very close match to yours. It doesn't have ducted air conditioning. It doesn't have the solar systems and the spa and the beautiful laid out garden. So yeah, that's sold for 895. Then looking at the block across the street again, which is 8 Sumners Road. This one sold for 840. Way inferior to yours. It's got massive road noise, lack of a pool, yard space. It just reinforces the fact that your property sits in a higher price bracket. So why we find these kind of comparisons really reliable is because, firstly, it meets the strict criteria of the Property Occupations Act. They're all within a 5 kilometer radius, and they are in fact mostly situated within your immediate like selling pocket and comparative pocket, and that's all sold within the last 6 months, which gives you a great idea of what to be expected. And we work here with hard facts, so there's no guessing. We aren't estimating. This is black and white data that we work with, and this is also the same data that your bank or bankers will work with when people apply for finance. So they need to justify obviously the amount they justify for a sell, and this is the kind of data that they'll be looking at. You had a few questions, and the first one was if you put the house in the market for a slightly higher price range than you should. um, and my answer, it's well, it's very basic. It's just it's tempting. It's obviously tempting to try and get as much money as you can for anything that you're selling, but overquoting can also be counterproductive. So if we take the price too high, we endorse our competition, and meaning we would just make them look better. If they've got a nicer property than yours and they're priced under yours, obviously they're going to pick your competition, and they find yours too expensive, and then they buy the neighbor's house instead. So my recommendation is, if we price between the 880 and the 925 mark, we generate maximum inquiry within the first 2 weeks, which is what we have when we have the most leverage to drive the price up to that upper end. So I hope that answers your question. All right, then your second question was about interest rates. So it's a great question. And although I'm not an economist, the fact of the matter is, if rates go up, the pool of buyers that can afford over 900K, that pool of people definitely shrinks. And that will increase days on the market for your property. And once again, that's why I recommend we hit the market strongly while the summer median is stable at 910. Uh, we ensure we secure a buyer before any further economic shifts. And with this war going on, who knows what's going to happen? Yeah. All right. So based on the evidence, my recommendation is a listing price of 915. If you guys are comfortable with it, it sits perfectly within our appraisal range and reflects, the premium value of your pool, your solar system, the cool to suck, just your surroundings, and also compares very well to recent sales. So, Jim and Jody, if you're comfortable with 915, we can use that as a starting point under Form 6. Is that a yes? All right, great. So I have the Form 6 ready here. Once we sign, we can begin to organize those professional photographers and get you property listed and see how quick we can, get this all sorted for you. All right. So if you got any questions, please let me know. You know where to find me. I'm really looking forward to getting the best price for your property.